Good morning, guys. Happy Saturday morning. So, off of work, chance to get out in the yard, maybe watch a college football game. Tennessee plays Florida today. So, uh, but I want to give you something that we don't get a chance to do often, and now is the right time. I mean, as the seasons change, depending on where you are, the leaves are turning, pretty colors, everything. I mean, there's a few places they're starting to turn here already, which is surprising me. But the one thing that a lot of people ignore is Mother Nature is giving you a great food source right now. You just have to put a little bit of work into it now. She didn't have to do anything for in the first place. One of the best foods that we are going to have available to us in a full-blown SHTF situation is nuts. Okay, it's a great source of protein, definitely filling, can be used for all sorts of things. I mean, hell, you can make coffee out of acorns and stuff like that. It's not going to taste like coffee beans, but still, same thing. They're plentiful, and all it takes is a little bit of work. You don't have to climb trees or get ladders or anything like that. You just got to walk around, pick them up off the ground. I've got 4 chestnut trees on my property. I have thousands, I kid you not, thousands of chestnuts that are dropping right now. I have to get out in the yard every couple of days and sweep up and rake up all the chestnuts in the yard, because if you ever seen chestnuts, they're like a porcupine. They got a very spiny husk to them, and it doesn't do too good on puppy paws. So I'm out there cleaning these things up all the time. I've literally got a pile of them that's about 8 feet by 30 feet right now, and 6 inches high, okay? But think about this. All the acorns that are out there, the walnuts, the pecans, anything of the sort. This is all a survival food, and it's free. You've been to the store lately and seen what a pack of peanuts costs, let alone if you want to buy cashews or almonds or anything like that? It would behoove you to go out and collect some nuts. Now, what do you do with them? All right. You gotta prep them for storage. Okay. Chestnuts are a little different than most other nuts. Chestnuts you take out of the husk and you have to freeze them. All right. And they'll keep for 3 to 6 months, something like that. It's not like this isn't going to be long-term storage, but again, it's like your fresh vegetables. You're going to use them as you go. Okay. And if you get 6 months worth of storage out of nuts right now, that gets you through winter. What do you think pioneers did in the fall as a food source for winter? Winter, you're not growing anything else. You need to have stuff stored. Okay, just saying. So the first thing you got to do when you go out and harvest these nuts is you've got to dry them. I mean, they've been sitting on the ground in the morning dew, whatever it would be. All right. If you don't, you're going to get mold. All right, and at that point, you don't want to do it. Pretty simple to do this. Husk them, take them out of, whatever. Like I said, my chestnuts come in husks or whatever it would be. Get them out of there. You can leave the shells on. You can take the shells off. It's up to you. Spread them out on a table in the backyard, shady area. Okay, you don't want them in the sun. All right, that's got good air circulation. And just let them dry out for a few days. All right, in the evenings or whatever, if you're getting that morning dew or whatever, put them in a bag, bring them inside, take them out the next day, and let them stay out in there. Of course, if you can keep them protected somehow, say in a screen box or something, that would be best, because remember who else is prepping for winter? The squirrels, and they love nuts. And if you live in an area like me, so do the deer, okay? And I've got to fight the squirrels and fight the deer for my chestnuts for sure. So once you've dried them out, okay, any kind of nut, again, walnut, acorn, whatever it would be, stick them in a bag and throw them in the freezer, just like you would with flour or anything like that, to kill any bugs that are, or eggs that are in the nuts. It's possible, okay? And before you go, oh my God, I don't want to do that, I just want you to realize something real quick. This is the same process that all the nut companies use. So when you go buy those shelled nuts, those mixed nuts at the grocery store to put on the table for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever it is, they did the same thing, okay? They're out harvesting them by sweeping them up off the ground, drying them out, freezing them, and putting them in a bag. You're doing the same thing. You're just not paying $7 a pound for them. Now, like I said before, you can store nuts in the shell, outside the shell. They'll store longer if you leave them in the shell, okay? But if you're going to use them for cooking or something like that, or making coffee or whatever, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not doing much of anything till this is in my hand, and the last thing I want to do first thing in the morning is get out there with a nutcracker and start cracking nuts. All right. So, you can store them either way, but what's extremely important is when you store them, to store them in an airtight container, right? Put them in a Ziploc bag, put them in a Tupperware, whatever would be. As preppers, I'm hoping that you can go out and collect enough to put them in a 5-gallon bucket and throw an O2 absorber in there, all right? That will keep them for throughout the winter. You'll be okay with that, all right? One thing I will say about storing nuts is keep them away from anything that is odorous, if you will. Don't store your nuts near your onions. Don't store your nuts near your garlic, whatever it would be. Those nuts will take on the smell of those things. When you pull them out, okay, if they taste a little stale, if they've gone older, okay, just throw them in the oven for about 10 minutes, 350, and you're good. It'll bring back the flavor and stuff like that. However, make sure if the nuts have gone rancid, you aren't eating them, okay? You can't bring back a rancid nuts, all right? But, this is an overlooked prep that is free. It's fun to do, it's like, okay, now that the weather's, it's in the 40s here in the morning already, okay? So, I go out in the yard and work, and there's chill in the air. Still nice because a couple of days ago it was in 90 in the afternoon. But, this is another thing that the kids can be involved in. Chestnuts, okay, maybe you want to give them gloves if they're going to go out and pick them up. You don't want to be dealing with little kids screaming, going, Mommy, 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 I got a splinter in my finger, that hurt. But y'all know this, y'all been a kid. Kids like to go out and pick up nuts. Hey, they're cleaning up the yard, and you're putting some food away that's pretty versatile that you can use for a lot of different things. That's a good source of protein and a good source of natural oils for you. And it's free. Yeah, like I said in the title, there's a good kick in the nuts for you. Enjoy Saturday. Pinball out.